Good morning. My name is Paul Church from Clarity Craft here in the UK. Welcome to another episode of Groovi Tuesday. I can see we have Clive over on our YouTube page already. Good morning, Clive. Great shows, Jesse, Barbara, you and Paul. Paul, you and Barbara are great, and so thank you. It's very appreciated. I think because we know one another so well, we know exactly where we're coming from, and we're friends as well. So it definitely makes a difference when we're working together and doing our Clarity Social TV. So I'm glad you've been enjoying that. I can see that we have 23 people coming in so far. Good morning, Sharon. The lovely Jane Telford will be in the room with you this morning. So she's very kindly offered to help out because, as you can imagine, it's a little bit crazy here at Clarity Towers. Our Grey Friday event finished at midnight last night. So thank you very much for your custom. Hopefully the sound is all good. Sue said she's looking forward to all our Sal goodies. Good morning, Josie. Yeah, it's been a fun past week. The various different social TV shows we've been bringing to you on a regular basis. That should be my message from Jane. There we go. Oops, can't recognise my face. Come on, it's here. Oh, goodness me. 200. Jane says the sound is all good. Thank you all. So Helen's finishing off her Viaduct project from Saturday's online workshop with Barbara. Good morning, Lisa, from a cold but sunny Cornwall. Yeah, it's definitely fresh here in is it sunny? I think it's sunny in Edenbridge in Kent, and yeah, it sort of keeps fluctuating, doesn't it? 1 minute it's quite mild, then it's frosty, then it's raining, then it's dry. Good morning, Jill, Karen. There we go. Everybody's coming in now. So just gone 10 o'clock. So I thought we'll just, what's the weather like with everybody today? Should we have our usual weekly weather report from everybody? Karen says it's sunny but cold in Crawley. Yeah. I mean, I suppose for this time of the year, it is probably, it's weird though, isn't it? I mean, the other morning I drove in and it was 11 degrees. And then the following morning I drove in and it was -1. So yeah, very, very strange. So I hope everybody's well and wrapped up nice and warm if it's cold wherever you are. Jane says it's bright and cold with her up north. So yeah. So today we're going to finalise our project we've been working on, which is using Linda's Snowflake owl. Last week we had a bit of a, well I did anyway, about stippling with a multi-needle tool. Who would have thought? Good morning, Annie. Looking forward to this episode. Hopefully you'll show us how to do his eyes because I have a card waiting to be finished. Yes, the eyes, we will have a look at those, definitely. And I remember, I need to write this down because I remember last week, where's that pen gone? I had a tidy up. Last week, somebody asked about how to use the corner punches. Corner punches. Okay. If I forget, then I'll try and remind myself for 2 o'clock today because I'll be back with you at 2 o'clock and we're going to go a little bit crackers at 2 o'clock today. I mean, we're always crackers anyway. So, but I thought, yeah, we'll look at, I think Barb's idea for over the next couple of weeks. So we'll look at sort of tips and tricks in sort of like the lead up to Christmas. And yeah, so I thought we'd have a look at cracker assembly this afternoon. And we've got them in parchment. We have a die and we also have them pre-printed as well. And I thought I would incorporate the die with our self-adhesive felt. I did one on create and craft up in Outdoor earlier in the year, but obviously you can't go back and watch those because it's not there anymore. So what I can do is show how to use the felt with the die, and I can also show how to assemble them with a few tips and tricks. So I thought that would be quite interesting for this afternoon, if anyone wants to come in and join me and keep me company at 2. Jane says she loves the border on the Snowflake owl. She used it with on a sample with the Nutcracker. It really, really is, isn't it, Jane? Let me bring the plate in for our friends, maybe first time. It's a lovely frame, and although it is a square, you can extend it because you can continue that pattern. So you can use it just as a border. You can use it, turn it into a rectangle. You can top and tail. And there's several different borders in there, because if you just take, let me find the printout, not the printout, the traced out plate, because when you look at it, you could just take the sort of the zigzag effect with the 2 outer lines as a border. Then you've got your sort of faux stitching, so you could do 1 or 2 of those and put something else in there. So it's all about having choices, isn't it? And I think we established that, especially over the last couple of weeks, that with Groovi, you can become your own designer. And those plates we were looking at yesterday from Tina Cox, like the henna and the floral swirls and corners, is that you can, when they're all on the plate, and what Tina did was that she deconstructed them into separate pieces and kept those as a template. If you missed that show, you can go back to our website. I'll show you in a minute on the iPad, where you can go back and catch up on any of the Clarity Social TV's shows that we've been doing of late. And it's really good because sometimes old is gold. So Jane Nesterenko, Linda Williams, Tina Cox. I'm not talking about them as people, but as their particular design. Old is gold. Poor ladies. But it is, and sometimes you can go back and revisit, and you may forget that you already had it in your collection, and then you think, oh, that's what that plate was from. So I think that idea from Tina, especially when it's a plate that hasn't got a predefined design in relation to, you can just take the plate and trace it out exactly as it comes, to have all these different elements. And I was talking to Barb this morning. She said she had a lot of feedback from our friends at home, saying how she loved how we deconstructed some of the finished artwork. So I thought we could do that with the crackers again this afternoon. Have a look at the finished pieces, see where our lovely design team have taken different elements from, to show the versatility of the Groovi system. So, oh, coffee's nearly cold. Pat's just back from walking the dog. Good morning, Lillian. Glynis, is Glynis in the room? Myra says she's looking forward to seeing the felt crackers. The felt, let me just go have a look at the plates. Well, I've got them over here, and it's using the little mini cracker die. I know I sort of digress slightly, but let me grab one of the mini crackers. Where's it gone? Let's grab these ones. I'm going to grab 1, 2, 3. Okay. So our lovely little cracker die, and I know some of our friends at home took advantage of it during the Grey Friday event. Good night from Australia. Wow, worldwide. Okay, so let's move the goggles out the way. So this is our little mini cracker die, and it's fantastic because it's a die. You can cut your parchment, you can cut your paper, you can cut your felt. Okay, and what I did was, so this is one, I think, who is this one? This one is from lovely Jane Telford. So this is on paper or card, and she used those naughty little elves to decorate. Okay, and you can see there, really, really lovely. A little bit of stamping, a little bit of inking. Then this one here is from Glynis. So this one's been done in parchment, some picot cutting, some grid work on there. And then this one here is using felt, as self-adhesive felt. And I die cut a little heart from our nested heart dies. And so you can see they're not just for Christmas. I mean, this would make lovely a Valentine's present. I know we're talking about Valentine's next year, but they're lovely, you know, just think of it as a gift box that just happens to be in the shape of a cracker. So there's another word for a cracker. I can't think what it is. For some reason I've got it in my head that there's another name for a cracker. I don't know whether it's an American term. Not sure. I don't know where that's just come from. But for some reason I'm thinking, okay. So that's what I thought we'd have a look at this afternoon at 2 o'clock, because the smaller, in a way, the smaller they are, they're fiddlier, but they're also easier to assemble as well. So that's just a little heads up at 2 o'clock. Okay. So Paula says, good morning. I have the small Clarity beginners bundle. Do you do the owl in the small plate? Unfortunately, we don't, Paula. It was, and the large majority of our plates are based on an A5 square. How do I show you? An A5 square. And I think sometimes, I mean, it's possible that we could maybe look at going smaller in the new year for next Christmas. But if you've already got the, I'm guessing you've got the mini starter kit or the Groovi Go starter kit. If you have the mini starter kit, or if you're in the club, then they take A6 square plates. And there's a specific little plate mate for that. If you've got the Groovi Go, they take our A6 plates. But the plate mate that comes in the original starter kit takes our A5 square plates. And you can buy that separately if you wanted to. So for example, this is the this is the original plate mate from the starter kit. So and you can see there that plate fits in there beautifully. So if you've already invested in the small plate mate, then you can just buy this on its own, because you will already have the relevant tools. And then once you've got this one, it's like, if you start big, you can go small, but if you start small, you can't really go big. So it's all about, I think one of the reasons behind, not reasons, it can be about budget, can't it? And the reason we put the starter kits together is so that you can literally get everything home and you can get started straight away. But you may just want to go maybe for the plate mate, you may want to just go for the tools. It's having that flexibility. The starter kit takes the thinking away of what is needed. Bangs of expectation. Oh, that's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Bonbons. Yes, I think that was it. So I'm guessing bonbons, that's possibly a French thing. Yeah. I knew there was another word for little crackers. So we've been working on the owl plate. We're on episode 5 of this one. And the whole idea of working with the owl was I took my inspiration from a piece of artwork. I mean, we needed to put something in the middle of our circular grid that we created prior to this. But I took my inspiration from a piece of artwork created by Carol Baker using those circular grids. And I remember when we first launched the Snowflake owl, it was one of those, there wasn't even time to get it out to the design team. And this was a piece of artwork that Linda created for us. And this is what we've been working towards in relation to the lovely soft feathery look for the feathers. And this is a piece that we've been working on to build up. And last week we had I did, with the stippling into his fluffy hat and using multi-needle tools. That was a real sort of eyes wide open type of effect, because I hadn't even considered using a multi-needle tool, because the only time I'd seen the stippling done was with one needle. So it depends on the effect you want to get from your stippling. If you want it to sort of go white and then get lighter and lighter in an area, then obviously the one needle is better for that. But if you wanted to fill an area like a snowman or the fluffy brim on the snowflake owl's cap, then obviously you can do that. If you want it more solid, you can do that. So what I thought we'd do, we'd now have a look at how to create the effect of the eyes. Okay, so somebody asked earlier in the room. So this was another piece that Linda has created, and this is like the final stage on there. So we can use the back of this to work out how to do the eyes so that they look realistic. Okay. So Jane says there is an owl in the back issues of the Design Club plates. It's back issue 71, item number 41777. That would fit in the smaller plate. Thank you, Jane. See, Jane knows her groovy plates. I didn't know that. See, Jane, Jane knows that. Was it a project that you worked on, Jane? Because Jane does one of the projects in the Groovi Club every month. What episode are we up to now? Let me just go there because don't know what number we're up to on Groovi. We're currently up to 107 for November. So there's 12 in I can't work out. My brain's gone. I can't work out. But if it's on the website, then nearly fell off the chair. Then there you go. You can find that. So I'm going to have a look now. It's intrigued me. Right, let's have a look. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let me bring in. Let's leave that there for a minute. I'm going to fire up the iPad. Okay, let me have a look. Let's get the iPad fired up. So I just need to log into it. We'll go to the home page and refresh. La da 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 da. Okay. Just give that a minute to load up. This iPad is so old, I'm surprised it's still going. Who's playing along with the Nutcracker Hunt? Riddle number 3 has been launched today. I found a place I really like. Very generous indeed. You can trade it in at Clarity and get anything you need. I wonder where that leads us to. So if I go up to the search and put numbers 41777, because I'm intrigued now to see what this looks like. There we go. Oh, he's a lovely little owl, isn't he? Let me click on there. Let's see if I can go. Oh, it doesn't like when I do that. There we go. We have a winking owl. And so that'll be a design from Linda Williams. Oh, stop, hang on. I need to come over. And there were the 2 projects created for them. Come on, hang on. Move over. Oh. So there we go, the back issues there. So that's item number 41777. Lillian's off to investigate the winking owl. Yeah, we need to be careful with our typing on that. But whilst we're on the website, let's just have a quick look. So if you've missed any of our Clarity social TV shows, then you can go back. You can click on that button there. You'll find what the latest show was. So this was yesterday's shows. We did 10, 12 and 2. If I go to Catch Up and Craft, click here, then you can go back and watch the previous episodes. So Mr. Jim's just got to upload those from yesterday. Okay, didn't check the spelling twice before posting. I know, autocorrect is, oh, sorry about that. It's terrible, isn't it? Okay. Right. So yeah, I'm glad. Thank you, Jane, for that. That was really useful. Okay. So we've been working on this little owl here, eyes wide open. So now we're going to have a look at adding some colour to him. So in order to do that, I'm going to need my pergoliner pencils. So I'm going to grab mine out of my bag. So what colours am I going to need? Let's have a look at what Linda's used here. So Linda's definitely used the black, and Linda would definitely have used the B pencils. So let's have a look. So we're going to go B number 2, black, and then I reckon Linda's gone for a mixture of B9, B8, and potentially, because what we're going to do, we're going to practice first. We're going to have a look. So I've got the 2 browns. So I've got 5 different pencils there. And before I go on to my masterpiece, I'm going to have a practice. We're also going to need our blending pen, some nibs, spot-on sponge, and some Dorso oil. Okay. But in order to practice, I need another piece. I'll tell you what, I'm going to practice on this one. Okay. So I'm going to pop that in front there, move that one out the way. Okay. Oh dear. So Lillian said she hasn't found the clue where the little character's hiding yet. She's hopeless at puzzles. I am as well. Sometimes I can get them. I'm sure Barb does some easy ones, some medium ones, and some hard ones. But saying that, if we don't know the answer, then they're all potentially hard, aren't they? Right, okay. What am I doing? Colouring in. So let's take a blending nib. I've got a clean one in here from a little storage jar. Okay. Need to get some new ones. All right, let's have a look. Nope. Bear with. There we go. There's got to be some clean ones in this one. There we go. Okie dokie. It's because I put the used ones in with the unused ones. Right. So this is going to be my practice piece on here. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit now. I've written it on a piece of paper because I always go the wrong way when I'm zooming in on the overhead. So I wrote it down in front of me. Hopefully that won't go out of focus when I bring my hands in. So when we have a look at we're looking on the back of our artwork here. If I turn this over, you can see exactly what it looks like from the front. Dennis is saying the Perga pens may be good for this as well. Yeah. I'm going pencils because it's a safety net for me. Okay. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to take B9, which is the orange, because there's definitely got some orange in there, I reckon. And we're going to concentrate. We're going to ignore the black. So I'm just going to go on very, very lightly with my orange all around the outside of the pupil. Okay. Then I'm going to take my spot-on sponge and apply some Dorso oil. Just a little drop on there. Okay. Blending pen and a clean blending nib. I'm going to pick up a tiny, tiny amount. Now I already know that there's too much on there. If I go over here, if I hold this to the light now, you'll see how much is on there. So you can also, I would say, dab it onto a tissue. The tissue will be more absorbent than a spot-on sponge. And I've got some tissues. Where do we put the tissue? We have to tidy up. Because what we have to do is every time we finish a Clarity social TV show, we tidy up so that it's a nice empty studio ready for the next show. So we cleared away from yesterday's show and then tidied up. There we go. Right. So let's take a bit of tissue. Yeah, it's definitely lots on there. And now I've got all this space and I'm just cramming everything to one side. Let's put the pencils there. We can see this okay. Yeah, there we go. So let's take, so all I'm going to do is tickle the parchment, like so, very, very lightly with the tip of the nib. Okay. Just like so. There we go. So we can see the difference between the two. If I take a white piece of paper, let's grab that. So we won't see the line art with the white card, but we'll see the difference in the colour, which is quite spooky, doesn't it? A spooky owl. So let's do that one first. See, this also is where the light panel comes in, because you'll be able to see whether you've gone right up to the edge, because sometimes you'll you think you've gone up to the edge, but when you put a light panel underneath, then you realise that you haven't. So that was using B9 as our base. Now what I'm going to try is the B12. So the B12 is like a light brown. And what I'm going to do now is very lightly go over the top, like so. So it doesn't have such bright eyes. I'm going to take the same blending nib and then tickle again. I've used the same nib, but now when we look, it's gone a darker shade of orange. Okay. Lillian was reading a magazine, tried to wipe it to move on, to turn the page. I know sometimes if I'm using the iPad and then I'll go to the computer and I'll try and move the screen on the computer, that doesn't work either. So now we're going to take that brown again and going to go on and put another layer down. But this time I'm just sort of doing half of the side of it, like so. And I'm going to go for a dry nib now. So replace the nib and just blend those together. And don't forget, if you go over the lines, you can use your eraser pencil to tidy it up. Okay. Is Mr. Ken not in the room today? Haven't seen his chirpiness on the screen. Now I'm going to go to the darker brown now. So this is the B3, but I need to sharpen my pencil because it's not blunt, but it needs to be sharper because I'm working in a smaller area. Okay. So Leslie is in Australia and she says she has the owl ready to do. Wow, fantastic. All right, let's open the sharpener. There we go. So okay. Well, I've got to tell you something in a minute. Poor Sue, bless her. Right, so I've now got a sharper brown pencil, and this time I'm going on this part of the eye, just like so. So I'm using the dry nib again. So we've got some darker shade of brown in here, like so. I'm going to go back on again. So we're building up the layers of colour. Then dry nib again, just like so. Now it's going to look really spooky until we add the black to the pupil. Okay, so just come around here a little bit more. Go back in. So to get this realistic look, what you're doing is you're just going on layer. So now I'm applying a little bit more pressure to the nib, because I reckon that's enough on the colour. Okay. You know what? I'm going to wish I had done this on my finished piece, but I wanted to try first. Now you have options. You could use a black pencil, which I'm going to use, a B pencil, or you could use a black micron pen or the black Pergacolor pen. I'm going to grab my black Pergacolor pen because the pupil is black. There's no shading or light or anything like that on there. So it just needs to be a solid black. So if I turn this over so we can have a look from the front, I'm going to put it on white. So you can see now how we've built up his right eye. Okay, and if we turn this over and have a look at what Linda's done, so if I go side by side, so this is what Linda's done, and this is what I've done so far. Okay, and I'm going to turn over and I'm going to play it safe and go for the fine end of the nib. And by going on the back, also gives me that safety net. Because if I was to go on the front of the eye and the pen touches the raised line art, it's going to bleed into it. So let's have a look now. If I turn that over, look, it's a lovely little owl. He's only got one eye. So I need to put a little bit more black on, so I'm going to go with the other end. Okay. There we go. That's better. So now I'm happy with that. I'm going to go on to my finished owl that we've been working on. Just got to remember what order I did it in. Okay, let me tell you a story. Okay, so Sue, who sits downstairs, that many of you know, in her office underneath the studio, and I sit to an office just to the left of the studio, and we both have the same printer. And due to the high volume of orders we've had in over the Grey Friday event, what I do is I come in the morning and I print off the orders and then collate and try and combine multiple orders. But the tray only holds like half a pack of paper. So you're constantly sort of getting up, loading it up. But I noticed that Sue's printer had a second drawer that took a whole pack of paper. So I thought, right, I'm sure Sue doesn't use it. So this morning, before she got in, I went downstairs and I took the second tray and brought it up to my office and attached it. And then it wouldn't work, but that's another story. So, but I forgot to tell Sue or leave her a note to say, I've taken your second tray. So, so I was on the phone to Barb earlier this morning and Sue kept popping up like with this puzzled look on her face. So anyway, so I went down afterwards. I said, what's the matter? Is there anything wrong? She went, there's something wrong with my printer. And I went, right. So she went, it shrunk. She went, has it shrunk or is it me? She said, how do I put the paper in? So you just pull the drawer. So she said, but it's different. I said, oh yeah, I took your second drawer. I really didn't think that she would notice that I took the second drawer because she doesn't use it. But she said, like, I had, because the phones have been so busy the past week, she wasn't sure whether she'd finally flipped and completely lost it. But all she could realise was that where the printer normally sits at that height, it had shrunk down to about there. But she thought, anyway, so sorry about that, Sue. But that was funny. Okay. Well, I thought it was funny anyway. Sue didn't. She thought she'd finally lost the plot. So we're going to start off with the orange first. And we're going to put that base colour down first. So I didn't need the yellow at all. It's just the orange. Okay. So very, very light layer of orange on first. Then I'm going to go back to my orange nib that we started with. And I wonder whether there's enough in here still left for it to move. Yeah, there is. So there's still some Dorso oil on the nib to create the blend. Where's my Groovi guard gone? That's better. So we're going to blend and soften the base coat down first, which is the orange. Like so. And also, I know you can't really see it, but turn your nib as well, because we tend to, what I do, I load it up and that's the direction I go, and forgetting that the Dorso oil spreads onto the nib. So when you turn it around, then you've still got some oil on the other side. Okay. So that's our base coat of orange. Then I'm going to go for the light brown. So the light brown is a B12. I'm now going to go very lightly all over the orange. I'm sure this is what I did before. Yeah, I did. Okay. Like so. Same nib. Like that. And then we're going to blend the brown into that orange to take the brightness away. Okay. That's one. And two. And what did I do? Such a long time ago. Then I'm going to take the darker brown, which is the B3. Is Jane multitasking? Jane's on YouTube and on Facebook. Thank you, Jane. Jane will be helping out this afternoon at 2 o'clock as well. So it just means that the guys here can carry on sort of processing your orders and club renewals as well. I didn't realise Sue would be listening. I thought she'd be working on all those club subscriptions. But at least I was honest. So this is a darker brown now. Let me just, so a little bit more pressure. I don't know if you can hear sort of the scratchiness. Not the scratchiness, but you can definitely hear the difference from tickling to applying pressure. Okay. And then we're going to go back on with the brown again. Just like so. Oh, looks a little bit fierce there. Let's soften that area there. And it's really, the area I'm sort of concentrating mainly is where it goes from the dark into the lighter area. Okay. And if you find that it's not blending as easy as you think it should, then you may need to just go back to my dorsal oil. So I've just dabbed in there, and now you can see that the oil has reactivated the end of the nib. And now I'm tickling. Okay, so I'm tickling just the edges where the two colours meet. But what I can also do is I can take the orange and use the orange pencil to blend out as well. Okay. Laura Jane, I think I apply too much pressure. My nibs blunt really easily. Yeah, for me, when I'm first doing a layer of colour, I always just tickle. It is, excuse me. Yeah, it's tickle. It's the only way I can describe it. The tip of the nib is just touching the parchment. So yeah, it's the only way that I can think to describe it, because it's not stroking. For me, stroking with a little bit more pressure. So tickling, I think, is, can we have that as a new parchment term? Tickling your parchment with the nibs. Okay, let's have a look at Linda's. So this is my one. This is Linda's one. Okay, so I need to go a little bit darker now on the brown. So I still have my sharp pencil. And what I'm doing, I'm going right up to the edge of the eye, like so, to create a little bit more depth. And then I'm going to go back to my dry nib. Okay. And then just blend that in a little bit more. I mean, I'm sure Linda may have probably spent more time than I am on the owl's eyes. I'm just going to have a look, a close-up look. Yeah, let's have a look at the eye. Let's have a look at the eyes on Linda's finished piece. They look so real, don't they? Okay. Excuse me. Hang on. I took in a breath too quickly. So what we're going to do now, we're going to do, no, let's do it in a minute. So let's try using the black pencil this time rather than the black pen. So this time I'm not going to blend it, I'm applying pressure now, because there's no blending required on the pupil. I can go on heavy with the black. Okay. Now I don't know, because I've got little bits of dust whilst I'm applying that pressure. So rather than blow across the parchment, I'm going to take a stencil brush and use the stencil brush to remove the excess. Now, here we go, I have to find one, because there's got to be one in this studio. Okay. So now, let's have a look. That's better, much better. Definitely use a brush to remove the debris of the pencil rather than your finger, because the finger will just stretch, not stretch, will it will sort of melt from your finger and then it's looking through the window and go places that you don't necessarily want it to be. Okay, so I reckon I need a little bit more brown on this eye. Where's it gone? Just a little bit more there, I reckon. Okay. And then looking at the finished piece from Linda, we have a look at those eyes. I'm going to come up as close as I can. Hopefully it won't go out of focus. But look around the black of the eye. Hang on. Around the black of the eye. And you can see it's got, they look so real. And I think what it is, it's the flicking outwards. And I reckon that Linda has done that on the front. And it also looks as if Linda's done the black on the front as well. So let's have a look. Let's turn this over. And we can see, oh, wrong one. We can see as a comparison. So I think we're getting, if I take so Linda has put hers onto black. So let's take that. So it's definitely starting to take shape. Now, do you remember when we traced out the eyes, I used the number 2 or the number 3 tool so that it was a soft line. But what I'm going to do now is I'm now going to work on the front of my piece of artwork. So let's move that to one side, because Linda's eyes are definitely blacker than mine. So in order to do that, I'm going to stick with the pencil. I'm going to give it a little sharpen. Okay. I don't want sharp, but I just need it a little bit sharper than what I have. Like so. Groovy guard. And now this time, I'm going to cover up the white line. Okay. Brush. Can you see it? Yeah, you can definitely see the difference, can't you? So I don't know why I'm holding my breath. So it's definitely a brighter black on the front. Brush again so that we don't smudge. Thank you, Lillian. That was the word I was looking for. And now I'm going to take my blending pen. I'm going to use the one that was brown before. And I'm going to tickle the pupil of the eye. Okay. You see that? Yeah, you can see that difference, can't you? Like so. Okay, his pupil's just blown. But all I need to do, quick, where's my emergency rubber? I'm going to take it back. There we go, quick eye operation. Where's the black gone? Oh dear. That's why I'm using pencil and not a pen. Now what I'm going to do is, I've got my dark brown, but I need it to be super sharp. So brown pencil, super sharp. And I'm going to practice. So I'm going to go on to here first. So what I need to do is little flicks. Too much of a flick. Looks like eyelashes on the pupil. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to very lightly go around the edge of the black. I think I need to go back to the opticians. So it's just adding a little bit to that black edge. Brush again to remove any debris. Pauline said I would use black brads and a pair of my daughter's eyelashes. There's no reason to say well you can't. Depends how big the eyelashes are. So I'm just gently going around black. Stick on googly eyes. Yes, you could stick on googly eyes, but I think googly eyes on Linda's masterpiece just wouldn't look right, would it? So they're definitely, yeah, they're definitely coming. I think they are anyway. What do you think? Because the finishing bit is to put the little glint in his eye. And what I'm also going to do, I'm just going to put a little bit of brown just inside. This again is on the front. Remove this out of the way. I need to get, what I want to do is just put a little bit just along here, very lightly. I don't know why I'm whispering. Maybe if I whisper. So I very rarely colour on the front, but because I'm using the pencils, I feel a lot more confident than if I was using a pen. But I suppose it's anything, isn't it? Once you sort of you can get it to work with the pencils, and I would always suggest that you practice first rather than go straight on to your masterpiece. Now what I'm going to do is take a little bit of the orange, just like so. Yeah. But you really do need sort of a really sharp pencil to do that. Okay, so now we've got that like so. And then what Lynn's also done some white work in the eyelashes and also in these areas here. So let's do a little bit of white work on those. So I'm going to bring in my pink matte. Now this time I'm going to go for the Groovi, well, underneath the eye, I'm going to go for the Groovi number 2 or 3 tool. And then in the eyelid, I'm going to go for my shader tools. So let's put, let me see, I'm going to go for the medium shader tool first. Okay, I'm just going to, I'm starting at the corner, whoops, the corner of the eyelid, like so. I wonder who Sue's on the phone to. She's having a bit of a giggle down there. Someone's tickled her fancy and not her parchment. Just gonna, definitely makes a difference, doesn't it? And for me, that the pink matte really does make a difference. So normally I'd let that rest for a while. Let's go underneath the eyelid, and I'm going to go for the number 3 tool, and I'm going to go in the direction of the eye. So I'm going to come round like so. And I'm going to turn it and then go in that direction. I'm sure this will make a difference. I reckon, as Glenn said, once I pop the little white dot on the pupil, he will really come to life. He's alive anyway, but you know what I mean. Hopefully, I don't make the eyes pop. Don't want to go down that thought process. Jill said, really get things done whilst listening to Paul. 68 Christmas card inside stamped with words from the Christmas layout stamps. Now for the backs. Wow. 68, goodness me. Now I'm going to put another layer on the eyelids whilst we're here. Just like so. There's a tiny little area just here, just above in the corner of the eye, just there and there. Okay. Now, Linda has chosen to ignore that area, but what I'm going to do is I'm using the number 3 tool. I reckon I get away with the number 2 tool actually, because it's such a small area. Like so. And then Linda has done a little bit of white work on one side of the, I was about to say nostril, the beak. Number 2 tool. Like so. Okay, and I reckon I need a little bit more white on this eyelid. And don't forget, if you're not so confident with your white work, you could use a white pencil to give the illusion of white work. But I think when you look at what we've achieved here with the feathers, okay, let's have a look. Yes, I reckon I just need to just bring a bit of white to there, a little bit of white to there. See, the shader tool, what it does, it fills areas, larger areas, quite quickly. But I don't want to, I want to go from here outwards or towards me. There we go. Like so. So now let's turn this over. Really? I hope that wasn't a 1 needle tool. I just rolled on the floor. Okay, let's have a look. So here we go. He's starting to come to life now. Now this is my practice one. So I've got choices. I can use, excuse me, Pergamano white pen, white gel pen. So I'm just going to my bag. I must have a white gel pen in here. Let's have a look in the glass. Hang on a minute. Yeah, I've got one just there. So I've got that one. Let's try that. So I need a little bit of black card. There we go, from our little stash in the studio. Okay, let's have a look. This pen may have been there for a while. What do you reckon? I reckon Linda may have used a Posca pen, because the Posca will definitely be, yep, Jane's just confirmed that. So, white Posca pen, it's more vibrant, isn't it? Especially, just get this one going. Just bear with, just gonna, so this is the white Posca pen. You just need to give it some pump action if it's brand new. Then we'll get that going. Talk amongst yourselves while we get this going. La-di-da-di-da. All right, there it is. Just took a while. Okay. Let's have a look. So, I'm going to practice on a piece of white card. I'm going to now practice on this one that I gave dodgy eyelashes to. And it's just a tiny little. Okay, here we go. This is where it could all go wrong. I don't want to do it, but I know to do it. Okay, so there and there. There we go. Oh, yeah. There we go. Look at that. I'm well chuffed with that. That's lovely. Do you think? All of a sudden, as Jane said, it is the white, little white dots in there that all of a sudden just makes those eyes come to life. Really, really like that. Happy Paul. That could have gone so wrong. So always practice first, just exactly build up the colours. So just a reminder, the colours that I used were the pergoliner pencils. I used B9, which was the orange. Then I went on with B12, which was the light brown. Then I added some depth with the darker brown, which was the B3. And then for the center, I went with the black pergoliner pencil, the B12. And I put the black on the back and on the front. And then I used a little bit of the orange, the B9, and the light brown, the B12, just on the front. Okay, so I went just on the lower part of his eyes. Yeah, really pleased with that. And then just a fine white Posca pen. Test it on some card first, get the pen going, because the last thing you want to do is you open the pen and you touch it and it floods. So Glennis is saying you can get rid of it once it's dry. If you go wrong, use the point of a 1 needle tool to scratch it off carefully. Perfect. Might be using the white Posca pen a little bit more. I wasn't sure whether there was a safety net when it came to, I know there is with the pencils, but that's good to know about the Posca pens. Thank you, Glennis. Pauline said hers would look like Clarence the Cross-Eyed Lion. Practice first. Just trace out those 2 googly eyes on a scrap piece of parchment. Do one eye on the back and build it up. And then once you're happy, go to your finished piece. Now, one tip I would give you, when you're doing it on a practice piece, you know it's a practice piece. So if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. When you then come to transfer that onto your final piece, tell yourself it's a practice piece, because sometimes the brain can, or the mind can play games with you. You think, oh, it's fine, fine, and you sort of overthink it. Well, I do, and then what happens is you overthink it, and then it goes wrong. So just imagine that your final piece is a practice piece. See if that works for you. But I'm really happy with that effect. That little white dot really does make a difference. And then we've been creating this to go within our circular frame. So if I bring that in like so, and we just gently move that round, so it goes underneath each of those little corners that we picot cut, like so. Okay, gently does it, because everything's picot cut. See, and then you can position him into place. Come on, play nicely. There we go. It's because it's catching on this one. Come on, there we go. There we go. So then that you can pot. I'm going to zoom out now. Hang on. Stretch. Which way am I going? Out. I'm coming in this way. There we go. So there is our lovely snowflake owl contained within Josie's circular grid. And then it's up to you whether you wanted to take the frame on the plate. A little bit too much. I think it just looks lovely on a card blank, like so. One a little bit bigger than that to finish him off. And then just use some brads, or you don't need to use brads because you can put the tape runner on the back of your grid and stick it down that way. I really love that. Really, 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 really. Someone special might get that as a Christmas card. I might send it, so I'm not sure yet. I won't send it to Linda. So thank you for joining. I know we've overrun slightly. I really didn't realise the time, but I wanted to get the hour complete. So thank you for joining me. Thank you to the lovely Jane. Next week, when we come back, we're going to be looking at Jazz's A4 sampler plates. This is the rosy plate. So it's an A4. We launched this earlier this month, I think. So we're going to have a look at that in conjunction with the basic grids. So that's where we're heading next Tuesday. But before then, I'll be back with you at 2 o'clock, and we're going to go a little bit crackers. Then Barb's back with you in the shack on Thursday evening at 7. And then we'll be back with you again on Monday for the shack with Barbara again. So thanks again for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully I'll see some of you at 2 o'clock. Thank you, Jane, for helping out, and also to all the lovely design team. See you later.